got a problem with a player being asked or looked at as the most valuable player when he dominates the ball on one end of the court, and we just focus on what he does offensively. We have to look at him on both sides of the ball. And I'm not saying he don't play defense, but he doesn't play it to the same level. Dominate the ball that much on the defense, on offense, then you have to show some dominance on the defensive end. And that's what I like about guys like a Paul George.
The moment Scottie Pippen says something about LeBron James, the basketball world stops and listens. But this time, it's not just criticism, it's a straight-up challenge to LeBron's legacy. Because when Pippen says he never faces real pressure, that's not a casual take. That's a shot at everything LeBron has built over 2 decades. And the real question is there truth in it? Or is this just another chapter in an old school versus new school war that refuses to die? Here's the part nobody is talking about. When Pippen talks about real pressure, he's not just talking about the playoffs. He's talking about an era. The 90s were brutal. Hand-checking was allowed. Defenses were more physical, and stars like Michael Jordan were expected to dominate without the spacing, freedom, or offensive rules that exist today. In Pippen's mind, pressure wasn't just media narratives or Twitter debates. It was getting hit every possession and still delivering. So when he looks at LeBron, he doesn't see the same kind of battlefield. He sees a different game with different rules, and in his eyes, less pressure.
These remarks by Danny Ainge were incredibly irresponsible. First of all, he has a history of throwing unsolicited shots at LeBron, right? So if you remember 6 years ago when Pat Riley put out the official team statement telling Danny Ainge to go bleep himself, basically, that was because Danny Ainge said this on a local radio hit in Boston about LeBron complaining about officiating.
But let's introduce the real situation here, because saying LeBron never faces pressure sounds wild when you actually break down his career. This is a guy who came into the league with the label The Chosen One before he even played a game. He carried a franchise like the Cleveland Cavaliers to the finals at 27. He made the decision and became the most hated athlete in sports overnight. He promised championships with the Miami Heat and then had to deliver under insane scrutiny. And then he went back to Cleveland and brought them their first title in decades against a historic 73-win team. If that's not pressure, then what exactly is? This is where it gets dangerous, because people confuse type of pressure with amount of pressure. The pressure in Jordan's era was physical. The pressure in LeBron's era is psychological, media-driven, and constant. Back then, you could fail and the story might fade in a few days. Today, one bad game becomes a 48-hour debate cycle. One missed shot becomes a viral clip. Every move, every quote, every stat is dissected in real time. LeBron hasn't just played basketball. He's played under a microscope for 20-plus years. That's a different kind of pressure, but it's still pressure.
LeBron being asked to do more. When are we going to acknowledge that LeBron actually half the time doesn't play that much defense?
Now, let's break down what Pippen might really be getting at, because there's a deeper argument hidden in what he said. In the 90s, stars stayed with one team longer, built rivalries, and fought through repeated playoff losses before finally winning. Jordan lost to the Pistons multiple times before breaking through. That struggle built the narrative of pressure, the idea that you had to climb the same mountain over and over. LeBron's career has been different. He moved teams, changed situations, and sometimes controlled his environment more than players in previous eras could. And for some old-school players, that looks like avoiding pressure instead of embracing it. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. LeBron didn't run from pressure, he chose it. Going to Miami, that wasn't escaping pressure, that multiplied it. Now you're expected to win every single year. Losing is no longer acceptable. Coming back to Cleveland, that wasn't easy. That was a promise to deliver a championship to a city that had waited decades. And when he went to the Los Angeles Lakers, the expectation didn't disappear. It just changed. Now it's about legacy, longevity, and proving he can still compete at the highest level deep into his career.
Has a problem politically with the president. I'm talking about there's a personal dislike between the two. he knows what he's doing there, and that ain't right. And it's there's no comparison really, because you're talking about one person maybe talking themselves up in LeBron's case, but he's not out of the question.
This is where young players usually make a mistake. They think pressure only exists in the moment. They think it's about the finals, Game 7, last shot. But real pressure is sustained. It's carrying expectations for 20 years without a break. It's being compared to Jordan every season. It's having your losses counted more than your wins. LeBron's career has been one long pressure test, not just a few isolated moments. And let's talk about numbers and context for a second. LeBron has been to 10 finals. 10! That alone creates pressure most players never even experience once. He's played in Game 7s, elimination games, must-win situations across multiple teams and eras. He's had legendary performances: 2016 Finals Game 7, 2018 playoff run, countless clutch moments. You don't survive that many high-stakes situations if you never face real pressure. That argument just doesn't hold up when you look at the full picture. But to be fair to Pippen, there is something real in his criticism. The modern NBA is more offense-friendly. The rules protect players more. The game is spaced out, faster, and less physically punishing in certain ways. That does change how pressure is applied on the court. It's harder to physically wear down a superstar the way teams did in the 90s. So when Pippen says LeBron hasn't faced real pressure, he might be talking about that grind, the constant physical battle that defined his era. Still, pressure evolves. It doesn't disappear. Today's players deal with social media, global scrutiny, contract expectations, and brand pressure in ways that didn't exist before. LeBron isn't just a player. He's a business, a brand, a symbol. Every move he makes has consequences beyond basketball. That's a level of pressure that can't be measured in fouls or hard hits. And here's where the narrative escalates, because this isn't just about Pippen versus LeBron. This is about how we define greatness. Is greatness about dominating in a tougher physical era? Or is it about adapting, evolving, and staying elite across multiple eras? Pippen represents one side of that argument. LeBron represents the other. And the truth is, both sides have a point. Now, connect this to what's happening in the NBA right now. The league is filled with young stars, people trying to build their own legacies. Guys like Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, and others are entering their prime. And guess what? They're already feeling pressure. Championship expectations come early now. Social media doesn't wait. Narratives don't wait. And LeBron is still in the middle of it, still competing, still being compared, still being judged. That's what makes this whole debate so powerful. Because even at 41, LeBron is still the standard. He's still the player people measure against. And that alone proves he's been living under pressure for longer than most players even stay in the league. So, when Pippen says LeBron never faced real pressure, is he wrong, or is he just defining pressure differently? That's the real debate. Because if pressure means physical punishment and 90s-style defense, then maybe Pippen has a point. But if pressure means expectations, scrutiny, and sustained greatness over time, then LeBron might be the ultimate example of it. And that's where I leave it to you, because this isn't a debate that ends with stats or opinions. It ends with perspective. What kind of pressure matters more? The hits you take on the court or the weight you carry off it?